This week on UND Insider Weekly, football returns home after a trip to Missouri State. Volleyball goes 3-1 at the SDSU Challenge. And soccer opens their home schedule. Plus, football's first-year defensive coordinator Eric Schmidt joins us in the Coach's Corner to discuss his defense's performance so far this season. And we preview all of this week's upcoming action. All this week on UND Insider Weekly. Welcome to UND Insider Weekly, alongside Brad Schlossman and Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald and Paul Ralston from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy. Gentlemen, a couple of you were on the trip to Springfield, Missouri, and Missouri State. Football game number 3 for UND didn't play out kind of the way they wanted it to. Let's get some opinions first of all on a 38-0 loss for UND. Is it possible that they made any progress, Paul, from the week before, which has kind of been the idea under Coach Bubba Schweigert all along, is to make strides each week?
In certain portions of the game, they made progress on the defensive side of the ball. That first half, the defense, just got to tip your cap to them. They were dialed in. They made a lot of good tackles. They really caused Missouri State some headaches. You could tell, I think, Missouri State was a little frustrated with the way things were going in their offensive series in that first half. And I think a lot of it had to do with what North Dakota's defense was doing. As the game progressed, there were more things I think that they've got to work on, and that they were able to pull out across the board, whether it be special teams, penalties, even defense, and certainly the offense. But early in the game, I think you can certainly take a lot of positives away from the way the defense played.
Tom, you were there.
14 points in the first half, but seven came on a poor decision on the special teams to handle a punt. They're backed up, and then they get a strip sack in the end zone. So really, 7 points was all that was on the defense really in that first half. So
that's a mistake that's happened twice, isn't it? Same guy.
Yeah. Actually, at San Jose State, he didn't field the one that bounced inside about the 8 or 9, and then rolled to about inside the half-yard line, basically, and that resulted in a tough situation where North Dakota had to punt out of its own end zone. And ended up in a return for a touchdown. This one where I think maybe just lost where he was and decided to field it, and that turned into a tough situation as well. It's so funny that we look at this game and we the week prior we were so excited about the way special teams had kind of carried that North Dakota to a win, and really special teams in the first half with the two interfering with the returner and that situation there turned into a situation where it really affected the game for North Dakota a little bit. 1 week from to the next, two different results and two different scenarios really affected the way the game and the outcome played out.
Offensively, 166 yards isn't going to cut it against anybody. How concerned we got to be, number one, about the play of quarterback Joe Molberg, who Bubba Schweigert said after the Robert Morris game, he's got to play better. He didn't play better, I don't think. How concerned should we be?
When you leave a game and your rushing and passing totals are both under 100 yards, obviously they really struggled. So, like you say, after the game, Bubba said that they'll kind of reevaluate that position, and we'll see what they go forward with this week. But they need the quarterback position to play a little better.
I'm not of the thought process that it's all on one person.
Well,
certainly
no,
the quarterback,
but that's where it comes down to.
Certainly the quarterback. It's forefront. Everybody knows the quarterback. When you're a fan of UND, you know who the quarterback is. So he's got to have probably better performances. Nobody feels tougher about things and takes things tougher than a guy or a kid named Joe Molberg. But you look throughout the lineup and things. You have a drop pass here and a drop pass there, or a missed block here. Those things tend to add up. In addition to different mistakes, and I'm sure the coaching staff as a whole is looking at, okay, how do we get better, each individual in each individual position as well as a team. And, they all add up and they just kind of affect things as a whole.
If Simmons doesn't come back to run this week, do we see another linebacker there or at the running back spot?
Kyle Norberg didn't do too bad on the job.
No. He was a back in high school, right?
Yeah.
He did have that in his background, and certainly, with the way football seasons are now, you have to have
Adam Schreiber earned all 50 of those yards in that game. He took quite a few shots.
Yep, and you have to have some depth, and that's one thing that maybe across the board North Dakota is looking to build on, not only this season but for future seasons, is to find that depth. It's not always easy, when you're an FCS program. It's not like, you're an FBS program where you have 5 scholarship running backs, all of the highest caliber, and so they're going to be probably looking to address that. But this year they're going to have to make do and ask some guys to do some things that they maybe weren't expecting to do coming into the football program.
Football team back at home this weekend against Stony Brook at the Alaris Center. Let's switch to volleyball, where UND went down to Brookings, South Dakota in a tournament down there and fared quite well. They won 3 matches, I think 3-0, and then lost the other one to Big Ten Iowa 3-0. That's a pretty good showing for that squad, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think especially you play a South Dakota State and some teams that are on their level. The Iowa game, the game scores were fairly close in that one, even though they did lose 3-0. So I think they had to feel pretty good about the way they played down there and maybe get some momentum rolling.
And you look at it too, going into last week, they dropped one against SDSU on Tuesday that I don't think they're real pleased with the way things played out for them, as far as the way the match played out, just whether it be effort or execution or whatever it might have been on that night. But to bounce back, to go on the road a couple days later, and to just go up against another Summit League squad on their home court and really handle them quite well. And then you played Iowa, you got swept in that match, but I thought out of all the matches in that tournament against Iowa, North Dakota was the program that pushed that Big Ten program probably the most in each one of their games. And so you take that away, and overall I would say Coach Pryor, despite that tough one in a rivalry matchup on Tuesday night, has got to be pleased with the way his team performed the rest of the way.
It sounds like some of the young ladies that are leading them in some categories and are getting Player of the Week honors, that type of thing, and then they show their freshness at other times as well. Huh?
You can see Faith Dooley's hitting percentage really fluctuate right now, and that's probably typical of a freshman. She has some really good games. Against SDSU, I think she struggled early in that one, kind of came back later in that and finished a little bit stronger. Then this weekend she went to Brookings and had another pretty nice weekend. But I think that's kind of what you have to expect when you throw a true freshman into such a big role. And if she keeps progressing, she could be really good by the time she's done here.
Interesting note on that hitting percentage. You talk about opponents' hitting percentage, and you talk about that youth affecting things on their own hitting percentage. One of the things we've gotten used to in previous years, and we were pretty lucky to see, is that rarely did a team hit 300 in a set against North Dakota. And I think that had a lot to do with Elisa Parlick and Arani Munkabee. But now you'll see, if North Dakota does struggle in a match, you'll see a set where an opponent hits 300 or near 400 or somewhere in there for a set, and we're just not used to seeing that. But I think a lot of that has to do with some of the youth like Faith Dooley or some of the younger players, even a Chelsea Mosier, how it affects an opponent's hitting percentage as a match wears on.
Let's talk soccer. Bronson Field was buzzing this weekend. Creighton was in for one, and then Northern Iowa and UND, as I understand, basically a 1-0 loss to Creighton, which is after a 6-0 smackdown by them last year in Omaha. That's a pretty good showing there, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had an own goal. They gave up a penalty shot goal there, so I know Coach Kellogg's a little bit happy about the way his team has improved their results against that program. Then they play Northern Iowa and tie them at home. Goal scoring hasn't been easy for this team, and to get one, and they got one from a freshman too, so that's probably a pretty good sign.
And beating them or tying a Missouri Valley team like Northern Iowa has got to be encouraging as you get closer to the Big Sky season, because they've been a team that's struggled to get league wins.
Which is one game away, right? Big Sky Conference.
Yep.
South Dakota and then into the Big Sky.
Yeah, hard to believe that the non-conference schedule moves that fast, and all of a sudden we're into conference play and away we go.
All right, gentlemen, coming up, a full slate of games on the schedule for UND this weekend. We'll preview everything coming up next.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play for the experience. experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
North Dakota football returns to Grand Forks to take on Stony Brook in the annual Military Appreciation Game Saturday, September 20th at 6 p.m. in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
Welcome back to UND Insider Weekly. Let's talk about what's coming up, gentlemen, including football with Stony Brook on Saturday night at the Alaris Center, final or non-conference game, I guess, of the season. There's some soccer and some volleyball. Where do you want to start, Brad?
Let's talk about what's going to happen at the Alaris Center Saturday night. Stony Brook comes into town, another one of those games that is a winnable game for this UND team. They're not going to be able to make, I think, some of the mistakes they made last week and then still come out with a win. It's not going to be a cakewalk or anything, but this is a game where they can maybe see some progress.
I'm looking forward to that game as well. I think how does the offense respond from getting shut out in Springfield, Missouri? Can they bounce back and put together a nice home game for the fans at the Alaris Center?
The defense is kind of built, though, for a team, Stony Brook, isn't it, to stop a run? Apparently, they're just smash-mouth team, and it kind of comes right into the wheelhouse of the UND defense, doesn't it?
Yeah, you think so?
You would think so, but also at the same time, look at the couple of backs that have given North Dakota trouble this year. Big, strong, physical backs. Robert Morris had one. Missouri State had their best running plays when they brought in their more physical runner on Saturday, so that will be a challenge for North Dakota football. I'm also looking forward to UND volleyball this weekend to see if they can continue their final portion of their non-conference schedule here. On a positive note, they've had a bump in the road last week. Now we'll see if they can continue the good progress they made down in South Dakota against South Dakota State and Iowa and Eastern Illinois. Now they'll take it to Mississippi against Mississippi State and others here this weekend. The other thing I'm looking forward to this weekend is Hockey Fan Fest. I know that's a big day for you, the UND hockey teams at the Ralph Engelstad Arena. The big day for the fans. I think it's a 3 o'clock event on Sunday at the Ralph. So Hockey Fan Fest is always a great time. Most of years I'm gone during it, but this year I'm going to swing on over and check it on out. It should be a lot of fun.
Let's go back to volleyball for a second here. And Mark Pryor said at the start of the season that everything that they do is leading up to the conference tournament, not the conference schedule. The conference tournament is where you make the NCAA tournament. Are you buying that according to his reaction to what has happened in some of these games like NDSU? And I think that's really the only one he was disappointed in so far.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, you can win the Big Sky regular season, but last year's team, they did that. I'm sure they would have liked to win that tournament and get to the NCAAs. that's what the goal is this year, and they have some work to do to get to that point. But
when you're a one-bid league, that's really all that conference tournament is what it comes down to.
I still think you want to win your regular season conference crown for the sake of getting to host the tournament, because I know a lot of years it's worked out in recent history here where the host team hasn't gone on, but I think you like your chance of sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw the NDSU game, how much of an impact did that have that NDSU was able to play that game at home. If UND is able to play here, we saw what the impact was with the women's basketball team last year. They just blew everyone out when they were at home. I think that would.
And this year they will be at home if you win the conference tournament.
Right.
We kind of get that was we got grandfathered out last year, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How that worked out. How about the soccer team? Their final pre-conference game against the University of South Dakota. How important is that for them, or is it?
Huge. I think
huge.
I think it's huge because it's South Dakota. The Coyotes, they've always had some of the most amazing, if not odd, games and matches with South Dakota that I've seen, at least when South Dakota.
Speak to some of them, Paul.
Well, they've either went to extra time, and oftentimes the way they've gotten to extra time have been some very interesting goals scored. So I just think that the history and track record with South Dakota, if you're able to get some positive things going on the road in Vermillion against the Yotes this time around, I think that carries into a good starting point into the conference season, which I know Coach Kellogg is really emphasizing to his young group. We really want to be good on the conference season because with youth, you got to put something out there for a goal, and they've been really selling the build-up to this young group of soccer players.
That's a sneak preview of what's coming up this weekend at UND. Still to come on the program, football's defensive coordinator Eric Schmidt joins us in the Coach's Corner to talk about how his defense has fared and his thoughts on the season so far.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
Life is busy, but many professionals are finding ways to advance their career with a Master's in Business Administration at the University of North Dakota. Students attend UND online and on campus. The program is nationally recognized and emphasizes one-on-one with faculty. Find the title you deserve. Enroll today.
North Dakota football returns to Grand Forks to take on Stony Brook in the annual Military Appreciation Game, Saturday, September 20th at 6 p.m. in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
UND football returns home for one final non-conference game this season as they face off with Stony Brook this Saturday. The game starts at 6 o'clock, and you can get your tickets at the Alaris Center box office or online at UNDsports.com. Welcome back to UND Insider Weekly. Defensive coordinator Eric Schmidt of the UND football team joins us. Eric, thanks for stopping by today. Appreciate your time and a busy time of the season for you guys, I would guess, huh?
Yeah, we're getting ready for Stony Brook, so please appreciate you guys having us over.
Do you shovel Missouri State in the background and move on from there?
You bet, man. We're moving forward. I think that's the one good thing about football is win or lose, you put it behind you and get ready for the next one. And I think our guys have done a good job of that up to this point. We really stress that hey, after Sunday, let's learn from it, and then Monday's a new page, and our guys will start to come in here throughout the day as classes allow them and their schedules and all that, and they've been pretty good as far as preparation to this point.
Talk about the Missouri State game a little bit, and the fact that these guys that were there, Tom and Paul, were both there, and said the defense actually pretty stout in the first half of that game anyway, huh?
Yeah, I think if you ever want to win on the road, you got to get established early in games, and defensively, that's got to be the rock of your team. And I thought we did a decent job early. We were able to get off the field. We were put in a few tough situations, and it was 0-0 for a long time there in the first half, and our guys were, playing hard. We were getting off the field, like I said. So, just the end of the half, really, for our guys to play pretty well, and then, to look up the scoreboard, it was 14-0 yet, and that we just had to keep progressing.
The fact that, is it a depth situation for your team that if the longer you're on the field, the longer the offense can hang onto the ball, the longer you're on the field, the more it's going to affect you and the tougher it's going to be to stop somebody?
Yeah, I think, with the way college football is today, you can be out there 80, 85 plays a game, and that's it becomes hard to defend after a while. And, your depth obviously is something that we continue to work on. We've been pretty fortunate there as far as we've had to play a lot of guys. We took 29 defensive guys down, Tim, to Springfield, Missouri. I think 27 of them played. So, defensively, those guys are all going to play for you because you can't have enough of those, 6'1" to 6'3", 210 to 235 pound guys. Those guys are all your special teams guys. They're on the field, all those types of snaps as well. So, yeah, our depth is, the safeties, linebackers, those guys. We played 9D linemen, so those guys are all, getting tested and getting reps, and they're all making progress. So that's been good to see.
Is it tough to tell your guys to not let the offense affect how you're playing defensively, whether the offense is going well or poorly? Is it tough to get guys to understand and not let that affect them defensively?
Yeah, I think that's something that we try to stress with our guys, that hey, we got to play better against their offense than their defense is playing against our offense. That's how you got to look at it, and we just gotta concentrate on what we can control, and that's going out there every time we get called on and getting the ball back to our offense as soon as we can. So, we're never going to use that as an excuse. I think our offense did some good things in the first half as far as getting some first downs, keeping us off the field, and all that kind of stuff. And defensively, it's always been our philosophy that you can play championship defense day in and day out, week in and week out. There's times your offense is going to struggle, but defense is a lot about effort. It's a lot about guys, playing for each other. It's a lot about guys understanding our system and running to the football, and we think you can do that, at a championship level day in and day out. So we're never going to let how our offense plays or, all those other factors, creep into what we're trying to do defensively.
Eric, Stony Brook this weekend, they told us when Robert Morris came in they were going to wing it around a little bit. They ran it at you. Now we're told that Stony Brook's going to run it at you. Do we expect them to wing it around a little bit?
They're going to run it.
They're going to run it.
Yeah, I think watching everything that they've done up to this point, they're 3-back system, some guys that, some drop-down guys that have some pretty impressive numbers, in their past schools and that kind of stuff. 21 is a really good running back for them. They know their identity. Their identity is to run the football. They play pretty good defense, so it'll be a drag out, knock them down, defensive type game on Saturday, and our guys are going to have to play really, really physical. We're going to have to tackle really well, and we got to try to continue to force some turnovers. There's been some good things that we've done to this point, and one of them has been we've been able to force some takeaways, and we got to continue to do that.
Eric, thanks for coming by today. Appreciate it, and best of luck on Saturday against Stony Brook.
Thanks for having me.
Eric Schmidt is the defensive coordinator of the UND football team. And coming up, a lot to choose from this week, so we'll see what the panel's looking forward to. That's coming up next.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
North Dakota football returns to Grand Forks to take on Stony Brook in the annual Military Appreciation Game, Saturday, September 20th at 6 p.m. in the Alaris Center. Get your tickets today at the Alaris Center box office or UNDsports.com.
Welcome back to UND Insider Weekly. And so what are we looking forward to this week? This weekend, guys, or Thursday through Sunday, whatever it might be. I'm looking forward to football. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the UND, like I said earlier, the UND football, the offense is kind of under the microscope right now, and you know, we'll see if they can do anything any differently than they performed against Missouri State.
Brad, what are you looking forward to?
This is the first week where coaches can get on the ice with the hockey teams. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. You probably don't learn a whole lot, but you know, it's still that first week of practice, and maybe you'll be able to see some guys who are poised to have surprise seasons.
You look at football, we've had pretty good special teams performance. Not so good special teams performance. Let's see if we can get back into the home building at the Alaris Center, have another solid special teams performance, because I think that's going to probably prove large again, whether or not North Dakota is able to get a win or a loss. And of course, I've already mentioned it, but we'll touch on it. Hockey Fan Fest Sunday kind of gets everybody's interest peaked for the upcoming season, where both teams are on hand to meet and greet and have some fun with the fans. And I know you're there doing interviews and things of that nature, so make sure you mark that on your calendar coming up this Sunday.
I'm curious to see how the fans will show up at the football game on Saturday night at the Alaris Center. I had a great crowd for the Potato Bowl, and they kept them in the stands right till the end because of the nature of the game. I'm curious to see if the Missouri State game has a big impact on how people feel about that, and how much patience just 3 games into the season that this football following is going to have, and hopefully it's more than more than last year, more than a short rope. All right, thanks guys, appreciate it. UND Insider Weekly returns in 2 weeks. The episode premieres October 1st at 8 p.m. on UNDsports.com and Friday, October 3rd at 5 on Midco Sports Network.